Right, I'm riding a subscriber's 2016 YZF. Now I've literally just recorded this fucking video, and believe it or not, the camera died halfway through. So we swapped batteries. And he's told me to clutch and shift on it. I'll give him that. It's a very smooth gearbox. I've always known that the Yamaha gearboxes have been smoother, and they are. I will admit it. I admitted it, I think the first time I ever rode one. Maybe. I don't know. But they are smoother regardless. They are smoother than Honda ones on their CBRs versus the YZF. Now this is a really nice bike. It's changed, in my opinion. It feels very different sitting on it in riding position to the old shape. Now obviously since sort of since time has progressed, I enjoy a lot more of aggressive riding style, so you know, clip-ons and really high rear sense, as you know, on my own bike. And obviously on my bike it's just ridiculous because it's out of place, but I've got so accustomed to it I can't go back to the originals because it just feels strange. But this feels lovely, you know. It's at a nice, your legs at a nice angle, the bars are nice. I mean, they're not race clip-ons because it's not you know, a proper sports bike, so it's designed to have a degree of comfort, and it's a very, very nice riding position, and the seat height's really nice. It's on the taller side, which all the Yamahas seem to be, even the MTs, they are on the taller side, but it's lovely. Now something I'm very sketchy about is ABS. Red line it. But I'm getting a lot more accustomed to it now. I mean, as I said, I've literally recorded this whole video and had to do it all over again. Now, what I basically said was, ABS in my eyes is good and bad for various reasons. Now, it's good, obviously, because it's going to ultimately stop you from crashing under harsh braking, under wet conditions, under loose gravel. That's what it's designed to do. And it does that job fantastically. And I mean, there's even bikes out there now that have got ABS that works when you're mid-corner, so you can grab the brakes when you're fucking leaning over as much as you possibly can, and it will save your ass. Now that's when I think ABS is really useful. But you know, you think about it again, and especially on the bigger bikes, you know, like your big sports bikes, your thousands and stuff like that. You know, unless you're talking like £13,000 upward bike, right? This is obviously, it's a lot of money. And a lot of the older generations are like, oh no, I don't like ABS, blah blah blah, and all that sort of stuff. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's going to be the difference between you ultimately chucking your 13 grand plus bike down the road or not. Swallow a bit of pride in my eyes and say, yeah, the ABS saved my ass and I didn't smash my bike to pieces. I'd rather that than go, oh yeah, no, I decided not to get ABS, I locked up my front and I threw it down the road. Now obviously, yes, under a lot of time you develop the skill to not lock up your brakes, or you learn the bike. Now that's where the downside in my eyes comes in, is that if you've learnt on this bike, now it's a fantastic bike to learn on, it's very comfortable, really nice, it's a full package, it really is, I really, really like them. And you don't catch me saying that about a lot of bikes very often. I'm very, very picky. But this bike is lovely, you know, it's got all the cool little gadgets, you know, it's got passing lights, the CBRs don't have that. It's just little silly things, you know, it's got the info thing, so it lets you scroll through the menu, you know, your average and all things like that. I don't actually know what half of these mean, you know, trip time, obviously I know that, average speed, distance to service, your total miles, obviously all bikes have got that, but you know, when your oil service is due, that's kind of cool, but you should know that anyway. Most bikes, most 125s, it's every 2,500 miles or annually. But yeah, you know, it's got a couple of the cool gadgets. It's all digital on the dash. The CBRs are, but they've still got an analog RPM gauge. Now I prefer that. I feel that on this, in terms of throttle response, I'm not sure which end it's at. If it's at the throttle response end or if it's at the end of the actual rev counter. But I just feel like it's not there. I think it's more throttle. It just doesn't feel like the throttle is fluent all the way through, and it puts me off quite a fair bit, in all fairness. I don't like it. That's the one thing I can actually knock this bike on. Other than that, there's literally nothing else, and I would have to have a double wobble screen. But this is an all standard model. But you know, it's so comfortable. The tank's a bit high rise upwards, so it's quite hard to get a nice tuck on it. But you know, if you had a big double bubble screen, this would be perfect, because on mine it's quite uncomfortable tucking, I will admit. You know, it does make a difference, especially to the smaller bikes, but it's uncomfortable. But you can get right into the area where the screen's sort of thingy, and you can with this, but it is still sort of rising up to the top of my head. And these are pretty fast. Again, I wouldn't normally admit that, but I'd say they're probably very closely matched. I'd say this. I mean, obviously this is standard, so I can't really do a massive opinion on it. If the camera's got enough juice, I might try and do a video of the 09 one that's got an exhaust on it and see if that's any different. But it corners beautifully, like butter, really does. Very, very nice in the corners. It almost feels, I'd say, almost exactly like the big shape CBR 125, if not maybe ever so slightly better. Now I'm in very touchy water here because I'm almost a thoroughbred Honda man. I love Hondas. They're my favourite. They really are. You know, they're just, I don't know what does it, but they're lovely. You know, they're not always the most glamorous and they're not always the most sort of thrilling, but they are my favourite a lot of the time. But this is really, really nice, honestly. And I mean, so it should be on the flip side, because they're so expensive for a 125 brand new. I think they're 4,500, give or take. I know they're over the £4,000 mark, which is a lot of money. I mean, yeah, the CBRs are 3,800 brand new, so it's sort of like a tiny bit. But I think they are about 4.5. So if you say it's 4.5, you're talking, what's that? £700 more. So that's a fair chunk. You know, you can get yourself a nice set of levers with them. You know, I'm talking like Alpinestars as well. So it's a fair chunk of money. So it should be the full package, and it is. It really is. I mean, as I said, I personally think I have rode a couple of the older year ones of these, and I definitely have a video up of an older year one, but I definitely prefer this one. It's more comfortable, it corners a lot better, the brakes are phenomenal. I don't know if that's the ABS side of it. I'm trying to grab them as hard as I can, but I just can't. I don't know if I'm kicking it in or not. Everyone's saying you will know when you kick it in, when it does kick in, sorry, but I can't bring myself to grab them that hard. It's just scary, because I'm so used to, you know, obviously a bike without ABS, if you grab the brakes, you're going to eat shit, you know. So my brain is like, what are you doing? Do not dare grab them brakes that hard. And I'll do it now. See, I mean, they stop well. They stop very well, and it is, from a new rider perspective, it's brilliant thing to have, definitely, because it's going to stop you from crashing. You know, like obviously, I've probably, I don't know if I did kick it in there, but I stopped very quickly from 70 without ever having to worry, because I know it was going to save myself from crashing. If it did kick in, you know, or if it did lock up, it was going to save me. So that's a sort of a bit of peace of mind. But then again, like I said, I personally feel that when you're first learning, learn the hard way. It sounds brutal, but I personally, again, I feel like I would rather go down the route I already went down, and I would rather have my bike throw me off, smash it to bits, get a little bit battered and bruised, and learn that way. Learn the hard way, basically, than learn like this, because it's sort of you mollycoddle yourself. You know, this is something you should worm your way into later on in life.